What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 3 tips for shorter and quicker wide receivers to get some separation and to be successful and get recruited to play at that next level. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it teaches you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to know a specific drill training split, all the things you need to do to improve your route running, to improve your press releases, your football IQ, check out that very first link in the description below for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. What you'll get access to is a 4-week schedule with daily wide receiver drills with the exact sets, reps, and video examples of each drill broken down for you. Again, fellas, there's over 100 plus drills in here that you guys can do on a monthly basis. So check out that very first link below if you guys are interested in that. Let's get started with this video. So first things first, if you're a shorter, quicker wide receiver, you have to emphasize the details and you have to emphasize using your speed correctly. So what I mean by that is actually selling routes, but actually emphasizing the details of route running to get out efficiently. Okay, and I know it sounds a little complicated. There's a lot of big words in there that I don't necessarily like to use, but let's play this thing full speed and then we'll break it down. So he's running this like T route, if you will. It's kind of like the opposite of a whip, I would say. It's where you break to the 5-yard out and then you whip it back inside. A whip route would be like a slant back to the out. This is more like a 5-yard out back to the in. So I've heard this as a T route, could be considered something else. But what gets this DB to crash, and this goes for any short wide receiver on any route, whether you're running a post, you're running a comeback, an out route, you have to be able to sell the route with that speed. So many shorter wide receivers aren't confident in their change of direction and they operate in very choppy steps. Like he breaks to this out route, he's in full stride and he is in full speed. Because what a DB is going to be looking at is your hips, but he's also trying to read your speed and your stride. A lot of short guys, they shortchange themselves. They'll break to the out route, but they take choppy steps to the out route. They slow themselves down. They chop into the break, and then they drop into the break. That's not what we want to do. We want to sell every single route with speed and with stride. So use your size, use your quickness to the advantage, and actually gain some ground because that's what will force a DB to react, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, second thing that short guys have to do, and quicker guys, is that you got to emphasize the details. We can't just rely on my speed to win me routes. That's what so many wide receivers will do, and we're going to get into that later when we talk about how to beat zone coverage. But if you're that shorter guy in high school, you know, you're just faster than everybody else, youth ball, you're just used to it. You just pretty much just run circles around certain players and be able to get open. But when you get to that next level, fellas, and especially the level after that, everybody's fast. Everybody's good technique. Everybody's quick. So you got to bring something to the table. And those details is how you separate yourself from the crowd. See, a lot of wide receivers who don't have the athleticism you necessarily have will use those details of these videos, like different route techniques, releases, IQ, to close the gap with them and other guys who are maybe a little bit better athletes, to get on the same playing field. But as a quicker guy, to compete and to dominate, you have to emphasize these details. I'm not trying to get you to college. I'm trying to get you to college and help you get to college, but also help you play well. And these details, it's what's going to help you. So by details, I mean the hip drop. I mean the foot placement. So on this break, for example, he's snapping down. But the only way you decelerate with some speed is by getting freaking low. You have to drop violently. You got to drop your hips. You got to bring your chin to your knee. And that is the exact spot that he needs to get to. Short wide receivers, quicker guys will run full speed and then they chop their feet. They beat the drum. There's no level change. That's not going to get you out fast. And that's not going to separate you from a corner who's got good recovery speed. What's going to separate you is getting in explosively and being able to drive out of the break. Another thing I want to talk about is foot placement, because it's all about at the break point, eliminating wasted time. How much wasted time can I cut out of a route? And so when this receiver drops in the break, you see how he snaps down, but watch his second step right here. He pivots the second step. So that pivot step is a very, very minor detail that will cut out 2 extra steps in this route. So he snaps down, he pivots to get his hips to the line of scrimmage, and then he hooks the third step around. So he pivoted to get his hips here. He hooked around because now that hook step is what's going to drive him out. And now he's out of this a very, very fast and explosive break in 3 steps. Those are the details that matter, fellas. Those are the details that separate you. So if you're running routes, like let's say you're running a comeback route, a curl route, let's say you're running a comeback because the comeback's the easy one to understand. You're snapping down on your inside leg, right? So let's say you're on the right side of the field, you're snapping down on the left leg. You would snap with the left, pivot with the right foot, and then hook the third step to drive you out. Now, you might take 2 extra steps because it comeback's a little deeper than this, but that simple pivot step will get your hips out of the break, will give that DB less time to recover because now you're not drifting. You're just stopping, flipping your hips, and getting out of the break on a dime. Fellas, the details matter. You shorter guys, all you should be working on, you have the speed, you have the quickness, but to make up for your lack of size, you have to emphasize the details, and that is route running. That is selling vertical. That is selling an out route, selling a slant route, and being able to get out of a break with as little wasted motion and as wasted time possible. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. A great example here from Calvin Austin on how speed and emphasizing the details can get you a ton of separation. So now, last but not least, this wide receiver is going to be running a 10-yard out route, right? So a little bit quicker of a wide receiver, but one thing that shorter guys need to rely on is your football IQ. So maybe you are fast. Maybe you can run circles around a lot of guys. But again, when you get to that next level, you got to bring other tools to the table because every single DB that you go against, every single guy that you go against is going to be talented, fast, big, strong, the works. So your football IQ is what's going to separate you because football is a chess match on steroids. So this DB is going to be doing a press bail. So when he press bails and he turns his back to the sideline, he's going to have something called a blind spot. So let's watch how this wide receiver attacks it. So he bails, turns his back, wide receiver works to the blind spot, and then snaps this thing right off and runs this out route. You can do this on a comeback route, you can do this on a curl, but let's talk about it. So we come off the line, DB turns his back, right? Now, if he were to line up in this position, it would be a little bit easier to see. But this wide receiver does such a great job of reacting during the route, knowing that where this DB could get beat very bad is this blind spot. He's in press bail, so that means he's bailing out of there. He does not want to give up what? He does not want to give up the fade. He wouldn't be playing press bail if he wasn't, at least tempted by that. He would be playing straight up press and take his chances with the fade. But because the coverage is press bail, he does not want to get beat deep. So what he does, he bails out of there. He's trying to stay over the top. He does not want to let this wide receiver get behind him. So he does a great job of attacking him there. He attacks something we call the blind spot, and that is where this DB cannot see. So as a wide receiver who's shorter, who's quicker, you have to have that knowledge to get separation on guys who are going to play way off. They're going to play in zone coverage. They're going to try to keep everything in front of you. But to get separation and to be creative, you got to know these things. You got to know that if I attack his blind spot, he's more likely to think fade. He's more likely to speed turn. And then I could slip underneath and be where he's not and get at least 2 to 3 yards of space, which is a ton. So fellas, we have to understand how to attack zone coverage. We have to understand having a high football IQ. If you want to be a shorter, quicker receiver who's got some speed, they're going to play off. You see it all the time with Tyreek Hill, and he is a mastermind at attacking the blind spot, threatening vertical, and dropping in and out of his breaks because they're afraid of the deep ball, but we got to start beating them up short, and that's what we need. So let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by this wide receiver, pushing vertical, attacking the blind spot, and reacting during the route to create some space on that press bail look. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback, and it's always great to hear from you guys. Again, fellas, if you'd like a 4-week wide receiver field workout program, over 100+ drills broken down with sets, reps, and video examples of each drill, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.